So just a quick note before we jump into this video, I accidentally forgot I was wearing a green shirt, so luckily it didn't completely remove my body, but that's why my shirt is a little glitchy, but hey, maybe it adds to the spooks of Dark Gathering in general, so we're gonna roll with it. Can we just take a minute to appreciate what episode 8 of Dark Gathering just did for this show? Because really, I think this is the episode that, for me anyway, is my guarantee. This is why I can point out that Dark Gathering is going to be a horror classic in the anime medium, because I've been pretty much saying that from almost minute 1, episode 1. I just felt really good about it. I get it, the show doesn't spook people or maybe get under their skin quite as much as it does for me. Horror is subjective, just like comedy, right? What spooks me may not spook you. But just the overall world building and how they use spooks and ghosts. They casually introduce a god-level entity that in 4 years is supposed to kill this new character Ai, who I went from not having any care about in the first half of this episode to saying actually she might become my favorite character just because of how twisted her story is. You go from thinking her brother's spirit, who died protecting her, is protecting her from some other evil spirits. That's really nice, that's really noble. Then you see him start killing the sister, and you're thinking, oh shit, actually the weird looking spirit that our boy Keitaro sees in a dream is actually the good one. Nope, turns out the brother realizes that because he has to pass on, it would be better and safer for him to kill his sister, take his sister's spirit with him, so that this god-level spirit can't get their way with her. And honestly, based on the imagery that I'm seeing, this cultist vibes just eating them, it's just, I just love how this show isn't about trying to jump scare you. It's not about trying to say, boo, here's a clown, or here's this, gnarly looking scene. The idea of the spooks in this series is about how you are so glad you're not living in this world, because imagining what you would have to deal with and just what these characters are dealing with. To me, this is a horror classic in the making, and I'm not going to change my opinion. Now, I do have a full live reaction to episode 8 of Dark Gathering available on my Patreon, so if you would like to see that, it is over there if you're interested. We got a lot to talk about. So we get properly introduced to the other student that our boy Keitaro is going to be tutoring, and that is Ai. And I'm not a fan of these types of characters generally. I don't know, they're just too overblown, the outfits, the personalities. But I did kind of recognize that quickly in, like, okay, if we think about it, right? We have Keitaro, who's kind of like the neutral in the group, doesn't really want to be there, but also isn't like super overly positive. You have Yayoi, who's not really overly negative, but she's so twisted in her own way. And then obviously we do have that overly positive energy with Eiko, but unfortunately we also know how twisted she is. So by introducing a fourth member who is just a bundle of positivity, it kind of does complete the circle of all the emotions you would want in a cast if they're in a show like this. So I recognize why they were bringing someone like that in. The thing that I really enjoyed was that, what they did with her family story, I think was really, really well done, because they did bait me. I was like initially thinking, okay, brother's protecting her. Oh shit, brother's actually a scumbag too. Oh, wait a second. Actually, brother probably had the right idea. Is it the right idea? Guaranteed? No, but if you're about to pass on and you know how twisted the spirit is, because we have to consider the fact that the brother, when there's this one shot where we get to see that there's two spirits around them, and one of which was clearly the brother and the other was this robed figure. And very much, if you're protecting your sister for all these months and years, ultimately you're going to be spending time with this creepy bastard, and ultimately you would know just the type of fate that probably awaits her. So it's understandable. Is it right? Probably not, but it's definitely understandable. But you have to just put yourself in her shoes. The first ghost that she ever sees. She assumed that the brother was with her, but the first ghost she sees is her brother strangling her. Like, that is some PTSD nightmare fuel, because even if she understands completely what was going on there, like, you have to imagine that's going to be haunting her for some many more sleeps to come. And the idea of how they explored, like, her sleep paralysis or the reason why she trips, like, the first moment we see of her, she trips over nothing, and I really didn't think of much. I just like, oh, this type of character is usually clumsy, and everyone waits on her hand and foot, and no, it's like things are grabbing her, and just the idea that it's her eyes, like she's possessed, like these very, like, I thought it was contacts too, like literally anyone else on the show thought, but the idea that that's what like targets her, and you gotta admit, this is the closest that I think the show gets to jump scares, but I like the fact that they don't just immediately show you it. Like, I feel like in a lot of horror shows, like if the character was about to leave the room, they would just flash the creepy face. But what this show does is we see Keitaro, we see him petrified, we see him say, oh man, what is he looking at? They're talking about how we need to get away from here before the big bads come. And then we see this mofo, and I'm like, oh man, what the hell are we going to do with that? We have a room full of nasty spirits, and I'm thinking we need to make, like, honestly, the only place she might be safe is actually Yayoi's room, because, I mean, then again, we also saw that things apparently can break out of that room, but still, I don't know how you safety-proof a room from spirits when you're so locked in. And honestly, I think out of any character we've seen, and there's been some things that are intense. You have a little girl who's literally hunting spirits to build an army that can save her parents' spirit, right? It's pretty intense storyline. The curse is a little more tame, but still, the curse is something that you can see why it's, I mean, he literally has to have like a crazy surgery on his arm. It's pretty intense. But I think out of all four of them, has the most intense because she has to marry a god spirit that's going to kill her, and I don't know if she's gonna get ate like we saw in that scene, if she's gonna just be in a veil or something and just has to sit there with this creepy bastard. But I can't believe how foolish and how much pie I had on my face, because I was like, bro, there's no damn way that they actually did this. I can't believe that they unironically were able to pull a fast one on me, because holy shit, I was like, you actually got me to drop my guard, because this is a show with a lot of creepy things, but spirits, you know, if they got hit by a car or they hung themselves, you know, all these things that could kill someone, it's possible you may not look like the most wholesome of ghosts. So I was willing to believe that I was just misjudging something. And honestly, it seems like, no, that thing might be the evilest thing we've seen, and potentially evilest thing we'll see for a long time to come. I am a huge fan of Dark Gathering. I love it. I absolutely do. And I think my excitement for this show pretty much says as much. But it's just, there's something about how it nails the spooks. It never feels like it's jump scares. It naturally, I feel like, man, this is disturbing or creepy to witness with the sound effects and just what the characters are going through or the emotional strain they're going through. But imagine me in a world like this where something like this could happen, and the first time you see a family member since their death, after assuming they were there to protect you, is them strangling. I had no idea. I was like, there's nothing, not a damn thing that they could explain that would portray the brother as in a good light, right? But honestly, man, they did it. They somehow absolutely did it, and I'm impressed. I really am. They nailed it 100%. I need more. Like, we are getting into the thick of the story now. This is all I've been hearing recently the past couple of weeks. Like, the plot's really going to start moving forward. And I mean, yeah, it feels that way for sure. I really didn't have a strong first impression of but I was willing to see what they did because I've really enjoyed the show. But honestly, leaving this, somehow the character I had the least interest in starting the episode ended up becoming the character I have the most interest in, and probably is going to be the most interesting plot line for at least the next couple of episodes, and who knows where we go from here. But I'd love to know what everyone thought, because this was one hell of an episode. Let me know down below. Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new around here, of course ring that bell so you can get notified when I upload more Dark Gathering to the channel, and like I mentioned, we do have a full live reaction available on my Patreon. And hey, while you're there, you also get a video shout out. So today we have Rory Ella, Slippers, X-Demon, the Yor Asakura, Ryan Radnar, Sai Wenton, and Selkie. So I appreciate the support, everyone. Please take care and have a good one.